Next on the Royal Blue Podcast, we break down the Boise State game. And yes, I said it, Boise State. Z with Z. I don't care about saying it with a C. It's the Royal Blue Podcast. It's not formal talk, no media talk. This is locker room talk. And we bring up the biggest topic, I think, ever on this show. Taysom versus Tanner. And is it time for a change? Let's get it.
It may not mean nothing to y'all, but understand nothing was done for me. So I don't plan on stopping at all. I want it forever.
This is the Royal Blue Podcast by the players for the fans. I'm your host, Brian Logan. The Royal Blue Podcast provides Cougar Nation with a weekly players' perspective look at all things Brigham Young football. Like I said earlier in the intro, no media talk, just locker room talk. And big thanks, of course, to all the fans out there that are tuning in to episode number 10, Tanner versus Taysom. Yes, Tanner versus Taysom. That is the title of episode 10. I am alongside
Hold on, what's the title one more time?
Tanner versus Taysom.
Okay.
That's the episode,
Dun, dun,
Tanner
dun.
versus Taysom. I'm alongside former players Mike Alisa, Joe Sampson, Scott Lefrandt, and we got newcomer Devon Blackmon. Devon, step up to the mic. Introduce yourself to the Royal Blue family. Let them know when you played, and your numbers, stats, all that good stuff.
What up, Royal Blue family? I don't really know my stats, but I played last year.
Stop lying. You know your stats, boy.
2014 to 2016. And, yeah, it was pretty cool, man. I'm glad I had a chance to be a small part of BYU history, man. I ain't nobody, man.
Hey, we glad we had you. We glad we had you.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate
You are somebody, man. I mean, you may not be, and I think all of us are we're not on the level of like a Max Hall or anything like that, but we all play our part, man. We all play a role. And when I saw you with your family, I don't know too much details, but at the game, Mississippi State game, you and the family that you were with and the little boy that you were with, I mean, that right there is making an impact in doing your part, you know what I mean? And we've all done that in our own little way. If that's stopping and signing an autograph, I mean, that goes a long way. These kids grow up, watching, BYU football, and, we're on a pedestal, man, and we're heroes. And to set a good example, that's doing your part. So that's all that we can ask for.
But talk about doing your part and talking about Boise.
Yeah.
Last year, I mean, I don't know. I remember something, but maybe you don't. It didn't count, but
Ooh, oh yes. We talk about the Beckham catch that he had.
Oh, man.
Man, that was good. Did you put that?
Hey.
Did you put that on your highlight tape? Was that on your highlight tape? Was that the first play?
Yeah, I had to. Yeah. Because, I mean,
it's all ability.
Man, and if you look at the film, he was just getting out physical. You know what I mean? I was just trying to be physical with him, and the ref seen it his way, but it's all good, man.
Yeah,
I felt like it was a touchdown, though.
Oh, for sure it was,
Yeah.
man. It was nasty. It was a nice little play. Episode 10, Taysom versus Tanner, is sponsored by Boostability. To all of the Royal Blue family, anybody that has a website, anybody that's a small business owner looking to increase online visibility, give Boostability a call. Let them know that the Royal Blue Podcast sent you your way, and you will receive a free website marketing playbook. This playbook will provide you with all the best practices on how to increase traffic to your websites and to your business. So, fellas, let's get into this first quarter, and let's just start off a little bit small with just the overall reaction and how you guys felt about last night's game.
Okay, it's another BYU head-to-head matchup. Fight to the end. Overcome a lot of adversity.
Yeah.
Not a lot of dominant play.
Yeah.
Right.
But keeping up, and that's what we got, and that's I think what we expected. Unfortunately, we did not. Finish on the winning side. It's like you flip a coin, basically. I mean, look at our record. We're 50-50. And I think that that game was a 50-50 chance that we come away with the win.
That was hands down the craziest game
So cray.
I have ever seen.
So cray.
bro, like that fake punt. Yeah, like just everything that happened. I just remember like
so cray.
Looking at the people I was sitting with and was like, what the.
No, really.
Bleep? No,
really.
What is going on?
I texted a few people too, because my family was going out of town. So after I did the pregame show for BYU TV, I jetted home real fast to spend time with my family, and I was pulling some clothes out of the laundry room, while it was a commercial break. So right when I came back in the room, I saw the snap, and Linehan took off, and I was like, bro, what happened? What is he doing? Like.
I'm just proud of myself for not throwing my phone through the TV.
But let's break it down real quick. When you're punting out of the end zone, more often than not, they're going to be coming with the rush to try and block it.
Yeah,
you don't have a chance to run. They're bringing the house.
No, you don't got it. Well, you don't got a chance to do much, man. You don't got a chance to run. You don't really got a chance to really kick it. I mean, I think with the rugby style, that's your best opportunity. But I mean, the ball's at the 2-yard line, right, or 1-yard line? I mean, that's only 10 yards. Well, 10 yards, right? Because your feet are at the 9-yard line, right, the back of the end zone.
Yeah, and we've seen Johnny in previous games be in that situation and boot it.
Yeah,
and get us good field position. That most punters can't even do that, and so I think you take advantage of what he does bring to the table and don't get too greedy.
Yeah, right. And so I mean, the biggest thing that I think hurts my heart is the fact that there's, you're +5 in turnovers, bro. How you +5 in turnovers and lose the game, dog?
And even make it a game. How is it even a game when you're +5 in turnovers?
Right, and 2 pick sixes. Go ahead.
This just brings back memories.
Oh, wait a minute! Time out. I gotta call time out here. I forgot that you. Wait, Mike, you were there too, right? Yes, you were. Joe.
All right, hold on. Okay,
go ahead.
So
I'm gonna let y'all take it.
Wait, I'll say this really quick. Last time Joe and I were at Boise State together, there was one turnover that sticks out in my mind, and it was on like the 2-yard line. And it may or may not have been my fault, may or not have been Taysom's fault. I don't know. It was in the exchange. But I just remember thinking like I just wanted to die. I mean, I wanted to be buried under some mountains.
Oh, that was you.
And Joe and the whole crew. I mean, this was Kyle Van Noy, Joe Sampson, Spencer Hadley, best defense
ever.
I mean, statistically, these guys were just lights out.
Yeah.
And they went on and
behind Bama.
Joe, y'all did your thing, man.
I'm not gonna lie. That was one game where I lost and I was not mad at all.
Yeah.
Like I left and I was like I did everything I could.
No, literally.
Literally.
Literally the offense did not score.
I did everything I could.
No, bro, the offense didn't score. Like what can
And that was the first time Boise didn't score. They've been shut out in 14 years or something crazy.
At
like
home,
that.
right? Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
Like 14 years straight.
And what more could you do? Like, it's like you guys may not be able to relate because you're not married, but it's like my wife, like, can you take the trash out and do the dishes? I'm like, okay, I did that, spick and span. What can you be mad about, right? You didn't give up a point. What could you, like, I did everything. Like, on paper, I'm assuming that if I don't give up a point, I'm going to win the game.
Yeah.
But no, didn't happen. Didn't happen at all. How do you feel about that, man? How do you feel about being +5 in the turnover margin and still losing?
Yeah, I think, I had missed a good portion of the first half. I've watched it since then, but I tuned in like the third quarter, and the announcer said that's the first offensive touchdown of the game. And I was like, hold up.
Yeah,
like,
I just feel like they don't, if we're going to take it there, it's locker room talk. They're not trusting the receivers, man. Like, like, let's say you got a big play. Now it's time. Let's go at they next, man. Let's go deep at them. You know what I mean? And I feel like they don't really trust their receivers, which is, it was such a drop off from last year. I expected them to be really big this year. You know what I mean? Especially from Mitch and Devon setting the tempo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wanted them to, come out and explode, and I just expected more from my boys. You know what I mean? So it's more of disappointment from.
I think in general that's what everyone's feeling right now. That the pass attack is soft.
It's horrible.
And you can point the finger in a lot of different ways. And you could say the line's not giving him time, or he with time isn't making the right decisions, or he's not making the right decisions because the receivers aren't open.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there's so many ways to look at it, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done there.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of good to have, like, and refreshing to have a real receiver here, because Ross ain't a real receiver. I mean, he's just pretty boy Ross.
Pretty boy.
Yeah, pretty boy. That's our marketing guy right there.
Right.
Like he's the poster boy. It's like
right.
Ross. Like you're not the host, Ross, but we gonna frame you as the host. So now that we got a real receiver, we can really talk.
Hey, but in bringing back the play you made last year, Devon, that kind of tenacity, that kind of fight, that I'm gonna get the ball no matter what,
right,
is missing a little bit, don't you think?
I mean, yeah, and I don't think it has nothing to do with the coaches, because I sit there and I talk to the coaches and they're dogs. I know they the coaches are good. I know it's not the coaches. It's just the players. I just feel like the players just need that leader in the locker room, man. That it's okay to have heart. It's okay to go out there and spit on this dude. It's okay to sock him in his face. It's okay to talk mess. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you were on the sidelines against Michigan State with me, and there was people, on the team that were just kind of going through the motions, but coaches have high energy through the whole game.
Yeah, and exactly, especially this coaching staff too.
Yeah.
Especially with Coach Sataki, Detmer, and all them. I talk to them. I know what they like, and I know what they expect. I just feel like the players, man, they just need that. They don't believe in themselves, and for one, they don't have the leader that they believe in. I mean, Jamal can only do so much.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They need that one extra person too.
That's a good point, bro. Because like leadership, man, is like the word is it's on paper, right? Like leadership, everybody thinks like, oh yes, and like, oh yeah, Moses like parted the Red Sea and like come behind. Like, no, man, like there's different ways to lead, as a leader. And Joe talked about it a few shows ago, about leaders actually being on the field and putting it on film is what we called it in 2009, 2010.
Right, put it on tape.
Put it on tape. And you can be all rah, and, you can be the poster child. You can be on all the billboards and, all that stuff. But if you aren't on the field producing, you know what I mean? Especially when you are when it's game time, and I mean prime time game time, like Thursday night, ain't nobody else on TV. You in prime time spot, ESPN, against top 14 team, in the nation. What are you going to do? Where the ballers are going to come out, right? Yep. And those are the people that you look up to. You know what I mean? And so, Kyle, I remember Kyle, when I was gone, he wasn't necessarily a leader or a captain on paper, but everybody looked up to him. You know what I mean? As far as what he did on the actual field.
People are always going to look up to the ballers. And it's up to you on the field. People are going to rally behind people that make plays. It's just going to help everybody else play better. But if nobody's out there with the fire, or, we played with a bunch of, I'd say everybody on our defense was a leader.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Because everybody did their own part. They made sure that they did their job. You know what I mean? So everybody else would want to play better so that they don't let the rest of the team down.
And that's why y'all was great. I mean? That's why y'all was great, man.
It's selflessness, really. Yep. And then, putting your just willing to risk it all each and every play.
So you have Devon breaking it down from an aggressive, aggression standpoint, kind of just being big softies. You have Joe breaking it down. Bro, you laughing, Devon? You know it was real. We got down like this, huh?
I'm not calling them softies. I don't want them to call softies, but I feel like as soon as you watch a game on the kickoff, you could just tell the first kickoff. Oh, I know what type of game this gonna be. And as soon as I seen the kickoff, I was like, oh, I know what type of game this gonna be. They out there, they having fun. They not really. It's business. You know what I mean? Like it's I just I'm more of a passionate person. When I get out there, you see it, you feel it.
You're a different player. Yeah, you're a different player. That's the bottom line. And see, it's hard because as we get older, and I always say this like jokingly, but I'm like, man, that's his generation, Joe. We're watching games and stuff, watching kids play, and it's like, man, it's that generation, bro. Something's wrong with these kids nowadays,
right? For real.
But that's the thing, and you Devon aren't. You're recently removed, so for you to have that passion and just that fire, that desire, it's rare. I feel like that's why you have all these kids that come out of high school, ranked top 5 or 5-star kids, and then they don't start, and what happens? They go and transfer. Right. You know what I mean, or talk smack or whatever. No fight, man.
Right, and And I was that 5-star kid coming out, you know what I mean? Recruited by the best. And and I kept fighting, you know what I mean? Ended up at RCC and then BYU, and it just I just feel like you gotta take the game way more serious, man. Especially if you're gonna look back at it when you're not playing and be like, "Yeah, I did this. I was able." You know what
exactly.
I mean?
It's the simple things though. Like when I line up, I know in my mind, if it's me versus you, I'm gonna win every play.
Exactly.
No matter what. I don't care what you say.
Exactly.
You know, I don't care what else happens on the field. You know what I mean? That's just my mindset, and I feel like the rest of my team had that mindset.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know what it is. It, like you said, it's the generation, maybe. I don't know. But that's just how we approach the game. You know what I mean?
Bro, cousin, you getting me juice right now. Let's go. Let's do 7-on-7s. Let's do 7-on-7s, man. Maybe not BYU because, me and Harvey had some issues with intramurals. But we could do UVU, though. Plus, Mike got a beard now, so he don't got to shave. But look, man, it's great stuff. Breaking it down on a Friday. That's the end of the first quarter. Coming up later in the show, we'll continue this locker room talk. But in the second quarter, man, I want to really, really break down this juicy topic, which is Taysom versus Tanner. All that coming up next on the Royal Blue Podcast. Welcome back to the Royal Blue Podcast by the players. For the fans, you can download and subscribe to the podcast in a number of different ways. We are on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, Stitcher, all of the different types of podcast directories. So however you guys want to listen, go ahead and download and help grow the Royal Blue family. So now let's get into what I wanted to talk about from the start, which is Tanner versus Taysom. And really, I got this question earlier today on BYU Sports Nation. I heard a little bit of the fans talk about it yesterday, but I saw some of the former players on Facebook. Yep. I'm learning Facebook a little bit, guys. So I couldn't really get into the conversations because I made like 2-3 clicks and I don't know where I was at. I was at some other page. But for the players, man, to talk about, I'm like, we got to take that here to the Royal Blue Podcast. So, let's go ahead and put it out there, man. What do you guys think as far as a quarterback change and how that would impact the team?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start out safe real quick, and we can get a little bit deeper. But a couple things I noticed last night. One play in particular, you have I'm gonna compare two plays. One is Colby Pearson going down the middle, and he's got basically a safety kind of on top of him and a corner playing trail, and the ball, he's hoping that it lands like in the breadbasket,
right? Instead of going up
and fighting for it, exactly, right? Okay. Now, second,
hold on. I just got time out. I'm so happy that Devon's here because
he knows.
We didn't get none of that from Ross. Like, anyway, time in.
He knows. And so the other play that I think was a little bit better was Juergens just diving for that ball, and he might have gotten his head knocked off, or he might not have. And luckily, he didn't even get touched, but he came down with it. I thought that was an aggressive play, and Juergens pretty much doesn't care if he gets lit up or not. He's going to try and make a play to the best of his ability. He don't got the size, he don't have the speed, but he just gets it done,
all the time.
Right.
Young David.
And so now let me just flash back a little bit to the glory days.
Flashback Friday.
All right. 2013 was Taysom's best year, hands down. And let's kind of break it down a little bit with who he is working with. You know, he did have Jamal at running back. He had Cody Hoffman at receiver. He had Mitch Matthews at receiver. And then he had like little Skylar Ridleys and stuff that are just real finesse, fluid route runners.
Yep.
And Skylar would go get the ball. He would.
Yep.
And so when I start to see, I mean, Taysom would just throw the ball up, and a guy could be dragging Cody down by the back of his freaking collar, and he's still reaching up
in double coverage.
And somehow he's coming down with it, right?
All day.
And those kind of plays, it just balances everything out. But Taysom's throwing it out there, and I'm just seeing things like it might get picked because this receiver's not even putting himself in position to make the play.
Even when it's up there, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in they might come down. I'm like, it's gonna hit the ground or it's gonna get picked. You know what I mean? I don't believe we got a chance when it's up there.
But that's a good point, man. Because and Scott, you really make a great point because you look at last year and Tanner. And there was probably 10 throws I could think of right now that should not have been thrown.
Mm-hmm.
But you had guys, and it didn't matter, bro. Like, you had 6'6" guys like Mitch, and then you had, 5'9", 5'10" guys like Devon. But it didn't matter. They all went up aggressively at the highest point, snatched the ball. Or if that didn't happen, they at least turned to a DB and knocked the ball down. You know what I mean?
So let me just bring this full circle. Okay, now what I'm also seeing, though, is Taysom's role in all this. I'm not seeing him get in someone's face because they didn't go after the ball.
Ooh.
I'm not seeing Taysom, take his 3-step drop and have urgency. It's almost like he's taking it. He's just taking it. He's here, he's arrived, he's healthy, he's going to ride this season out. And so from that, Max Hall, I would go to the IPF with him at midnight.
Yep.
And no one else is there. He would turn the lights on, and he would say, Scott, you will not let this ball touch the ground. Mm-hmm. And he would be screaming at me, and it's me and him at midnight by ourselves in the IPF, and we ran the best practice I've ever ran, but he demanded excellence out of me.
Bro, that's so true.
And I would do anything, and my routes were better. Mm-hmm. I was catching more balls, but as a quarterback, you're not putting in all this time to just throw balls to
it's more of like
dead objects.
I'm gonna show up, get the fame. I'm gonna do what I do. I'm done.
Yeah. Just show. You
know what I mean?
You gotta do more
to
show up.
Of like I'm Taysom, but this is the work I do. I got this brand name, but let me show you how I work. You feel me?
Is he even pissed that he's 4-4?
Yeah,
I don't.
Right. I mean,
I know he's pissed that he's 4-4
right,
because he's a competitor. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I know my boy. I know he's pissed, but from when I was playing on the team with him, I kind of seen the leadership, but I didn't see the go get that ball, dude. Like there's no excuses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't see that from him. I just seen him.
Well, see,
I can make that play.
You know what, man? Because I mean it's a good point because I remember Max. To go back to what Scott's saying, when I first got here, and I mean I had a glimpse of that, right, like in the summertime. Mm-hmm. But then when it was like week 7 or something, we were playing Air Force, and there was like somebody on the scout team that was doing something or whatever. I don't remember. But Max stopped the entire practice to where us as the defensive side, we looked over and he was yelling at somebody and kicked them out of practice. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And he did that at the same time in summer when I first came. And that right there, that laid the foundation. Obviously, there was no coaches at that time. And I came a little bit earlier as a JC transfer. But that I was like, man, this is serious. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? This is big time football. And that right there molded my mindset. And when I started working that hard to where I didn't want to get kicked out by a player, I had so instant respect from Jan Jorgensen, from Dennis Pitta. I mean, these are big name guys that have been around the program, and they're like, man, you work just like us.
Right.
You know what I mean? It goes back to what Joe was saying. Yeah. Hey, I go out and I do my thing, and I'm trying not to get embarrassed, because and I'm expecting my teammates to do the same thing, and because of that, I don't want to get embarrassed.
So if we look a little deeper and we look at kind of where Taysom's been, I'm wondering if maybe even when they said, it's open competition between Tanner and Taysom, we all knew that Taysom was going to be the guy starting.
100%.
Right? And with that, does it and I maybe it's just kind of subconscious, but does he kind of feel like it's a handout? And if so, does that kind of make him feel like he can't just be the leader and just kick someone out of practice because it was almost like they did him a favor to give him the spot back? Whereas if Taysom would have been healthy from 2013 season and just kept going, 2013, bro, he was a cocky SOB. Like I didn't like even walking next to him.
Right.
I didn't like it.
No, real talk.
But that's why he was so good.
Yeah.
And so I loved it,
Yeah.
And so going into this season, I'm saying, dude, he's the best athlete I've ever been around. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying. And now it's like, I don't want to say that. It's tough, man. It's real tough.
I don't know if I can say that.
Well, see, I think the biggest thing is taking a year off. And you know what may have hurt him was, going through the injuries and going through the rehabs, you're really not around the team. right? So I mean, if I'm a leader and I'm injured, or let's say not injured, but I'm not in the front lines anymore, I still need to be
but
visible.
That ain't nobody's fault but his though.
Yeah,
because both times when he got injured, you could be on the sideline.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He came to the Michigan game last year when we played hardball. What happened to the other games you didn't come to? You feel me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean. You could be at every game still leading from the sideline.
Yeah,
but it's a choice.
Being removed, then
it's definitely a choice.
Being removed and by choice, there's no presence in the locker room anymore. And then to just come back and insert yourself doesn't work like that.
See, that's the thing, dude. And I remember, man, Bronco and Coach Hill had a real sit down with me halfway through the season. I think it was the next game after TCU, and they said, "Look, you aren't a leader on paper. You know what I mean? Meaning you aren't a captain. These guys, this is you've only been around these guys for 3-4 months. You know what I mean? But people look up to you. People like you. People
you show up.
People rally behind you. And the fact that you get juiced and you celebrate and you do all these things, like, we need that. You know what I mean? Because
you're all in.
Yeah, you're all in. And you don't know when you make a play and how it affects a guy like Dennis Pitta, who is the leader, who is poster child, and then he gets juiced and excited, and then it spreads through the entire team. You know what I mean? So, don't feel timid that just because you can't speak up, just because you don't have these weekly meetings with me, as a captain, that you can't be a leader. And I think that's the biggest thing with Taysom right now is because we know he can lead. We've seen that's been established.
Right.
But I really think that having that time off, and like you guys said, it's by choice. Going through rehab, and you don't really know what goes through his mind, right? His mental. You don't really know what's going on. He's going through rehab. He's still got school and all that other stuff. Right. I'm not saying an excuse. I'm not saying any. Right, I'm keeping that area gray. But at the same time, if you aren't around and you got to think about it, bro. Think about Tanner. How he just came in, golden child, everywhere, ESPN, 2 weeks in a row, and then essentially this is Tanner's team. Yes, this is Tanner's team, and then you come back and you're like, this is my spot now. This is my team. You got to understand where does that put you at mentally?
Right, and to get juicy, if Tanner was hypothetically to be inserted tomorrow, it would be a smooth transition. Why? Because he's shown up. He's still there. Yeah. He's still being the guy. He's not shying away. He's owning whatever it is, whatever role he is on the team, he's owning it. And so that will be an easy transition when the time comes.
I want to ask this to Mike. Mike, if you play on the offense because you play both sides of the ball. So if you're on the offense and let's say you have a pretty prominent role, right? And you got two quarterbacks like that are your leaders. If you have a quarterback that is a leader on paper, but you don't feel like he's a leader on the field. Again, I'm not saying that this is Taysom at all. How does that make you? Because we understand where Joe's coming from. He's been saying the last couple of shows. You know what I mean? But on the offensive side of the ball, what's your perspective there? Do you feel the same way? That how Joe feels on the defensive side?
I'll talk about what it was like when Taysom got injured and Christian Stewart came onto the scene. The team's loyalties were still, we still all loved Taysom. Right. He was still our guy. Right. And I remember even calling him up after his injury. He kind of went like into a dark place. I've been there. Yeah. I've gone through injuries and I went into a depression.
It is a dark place.
And I would watch Jamal balling out. I'm sitting home on my couch, like feeling like a little piece of crap. I was like, damn, my life sucks.
Yeah.
Because you go from hero to zero.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I watched Taysom go through that, and I called him up and said, hey man, like, listen, I know you're going through something dark, and like. My drop from hero to zero was nothing compared to Taysom's. I mean, he was in the Heisman talk.
Yeah.
And then he had his injury. Like, he just ran all over Texas, broke records over there, and had his injury. So his fall was, like, monumental. And I called him up and said, hey, man, look, we all miss you. And we want you around. And we threw a little players-only meeting and had Taysom come. And he talked to us, and he apologized for not being there. And now, given this is like 4 games after he's been out already, and the team is already like supporting Christian. We still love him.
He's starting to play well.
But a huge part of our heart is still with Taysom,
right?
Just because he's been there through so much.
He's taken us places on the national stage that we couldn't go without him.
Exactly. So now that same scenario in a different way is taking place this year, where a lot of the guys' hearts still kind of are with Tanner, even though he's not the quarterback right now. They all still kind of love him. But the flip side is, Scott Lefrandt brought this out. Tanner's still there, and now his fall is a little different because he didn't have an injury, but he got bumped down from the starting spot. He got bumped off the mountain, but he's still stuck around and still being a leader in the locker room. Man, it's that tough. So I don't think that there's necessarily can only be one leader.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there's something to be said about the injury, because it is such a dark, dark place. Because not only are you losing what you've had every single day and the attention you're getting every day and the role you are every day, but you're actually losing the ability to move your body.
Yeah.
Which is a very humbling process. Tanner, on the other hand, I ran into him the other day at a friend's house. We're watching the end of the Boise State, Colorado State game in preparation, right? Well, they potentially had an opportunity to throw a Hail Mary to win the game. And Tanner's here saying that they're going to make it, They're going to get this Hail Mary. And I look at him, I'm like, you're one of the only dudes that has done that twice, right. And he's still very optimistic. He hasn't been in a dark place. I mean, I know this is tough for him, but he's copping it on the chin, and he's doing it well. Whereas I think Taysom's roller coaster there's been much more contrast, much more up, much more down. And you got to give credit to the guy for even showing up. But I think we're seeing a beat up Taysom, and that's hard for us all to see.
Yeah, definitely. If you could just go to his shoes and just imagine what he's going through as far as on the national scale, falling on the national scale. Yeah, I feel that. I definitely understand him. I think for Taysom to have a good season, I think he just needs to focus on himself, man. I feel like he lost a bit of his confidence. I feel like he lost a bit of himself, and I feel like he lost who he was. I feel like he just needs to tune into himself, man, and just really bear down in the season and focus.
It's tough to do.
Yeah, and it's tough
with
to do.
So much going on.
When the fans are starting to turn on you, you have so much going against you. But man, he's great. We all know that. Like, this is where you show your greatness, through the adversity. You know what I mean? Like, you're blessed, man. Like, everybody knows you're blessed. You have these blessings and abilities. Like, let's see the light in them. We see in the darkness. You know what I mean?
Right.
Injuries don't happen for a reason. You know what I mean? There's lessons in those injuries. So let's see what you can do. And that's really what I want to see. You know what I mean? I want to see the Cinderella story end good for Taysom. I don't want to.
Right.
I just don't want to. He was this, and he got hurt. He windled off somewhere. You know what I mean? I want to say he was hurt and he came back and he finished strong. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we all want to see from Taysom. But as far as for the Tanner thing, that boy fire.
that boy fire.
You know what I mean? Like, he comes in, he starts off, and he's on the road. You know what I mean? It's a different energy. Like you said, he's optimistic. When I first met Tanner, it was just like, I'm ready to go. I'm all focused. Like, let's all game. You know what I mean? And you get this kind of feeling with Taysom where it's like, it's me, then I'll show you some love.
Right.
With Tanner, it's, we all going to get love.
Let's get it.
You're going to get a touchdown, then I'm going to make sure I'm going to hit you, and like, I'm going to put it all into perspective. You know what I mean? But rally behind us, and we're going to do it together.
That's the whole Mangum family.
And that's how... Look at the team. Look at the wins last year. You know what I mean? It was just all of us pulling together. You know what I mean? And with Taysom, it's somebody singly hand doing it. They won those last couple of games because Jamal singly hand put it on.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Saying, man. No,
I want to see like a team effort. We all rally behind something.
Everyone pulls their weight.
Yeah.
It'd be fun. That's the game of football.
100%, man. Good stuff. We'll head to the halftime break, man. But I want to obviously continue the conversations, and I want to break it down a little bit more in details and really get the fans some perspective, because it's not like we're trying to be Team Tanner or Team Taysom, at all. We're just giving you the facts, and we're trying to, really bring you guys as fans into the locker room and really get a locker room perspective on what goes on and how players are able to, really I would say decode messages. If that's from people that are like Taysom or people that are like Tanner or coaches, whatever the case is, man. So we'll go into a lot more detail right after this halftime show on the Royal Blue Podcast. Today's halftime show is brought to you by Rocco's Big City Deli. Like Devon Blackmon said about Tanner Mangum, that boy is fire. Rocco's Big City Deli is fire as well. So if you go down to Rocco's, located in Provo, and let them know that, hey, Tanner, that boy's fire. We'll hook you guys up with a gift card, gift certificate. So go down, let them know the promo code for episode 10, and we will take care of you guys.
If I don't get ran at my Catholics, it comes to conservative Baptists, claiming I'm overreacting like the black kids in Chirac, bitch.
Welcome back to the Royal Blue Podcast, where all of your dreams come true. All the topics, all the conversations are inspired by you, the fans. So if you haven't done so yet, please go and get social with us. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, all of that good stuff. Engage with us. You can go to the website and literally subscribe in order to be a part of the Royal Blue family. So welcome back. We'll start the third quarter. We had some great conversations with Devon Blackmon. He's breaking down. We finally got a real receiver's perspective. Shout out to Razapo, who's been fired 8 times and hired 9 times, for helping us put this together. But, wanting to really, with this topic of Tanner and Taysom, dive into a little bit more of the specifics and more of the details, man, because like we said earlier, with Taysom and Tanner in the discussion, we're not trying to make it, Team Taysom or Team Tanner or whatever the case is. And so before we go into a little bit of details there, what I do want to do is let's talk about the facts and let's be clear with, if Tanner was in right now, do you think that there would be a difference in terms of actual production, scoring points, getting first downs, drives, all of the above?
Yes.
Dang, man, you didn't let me finish. He just grabbed the mic so fast.
That's easy, though. That's easy.
I mean, it's just simple. Like, he spreads, like I said, spread the ball around, and different people get different people hyped. So if I spread the ball to Treneman, he might get Davis hyped on defense. You know what I mean? Or different people trigger different, catalysts to other people. You know what I mean? So by you spreading the ball around to your boy, oh, my boy's getting hyped. Now I'm finna make this play. You know what I mean? So I feel like by Tanner being there showing love to everybody gonna feel the love on the sideline. When the defense come on, they gonna show love, and it's just gonna, they're just gonna feed off of each other.
We gotta get a 7-on-7 team, bro. We got it. I'm gonna start hitting the gym right now, man. I'm gonna get back in shape for y'all.
I always went for the underdogs, man. So when I used to watch our games, I used to get juiced when J.D. Foslev made a play, just because I was guarding him every day in practice. I'm like, okay, I'm watching him like, okay, I could see he's killing them people out there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it'd get me juiced personally just to see him making plays,
exactly,
because I feel like I helped him out.
Exactly,
what I mean?
exactly.
And I felt like that with all the receivers, because ultimately I guarded all of them. But just specifically, I see what Devon's saying. That's exactly how it works.
No, that's a great point, because I remember my junior, my first year here, and Cody Hoffman and Mitch Matthews, they both redshirted, and both guys are long,
that
physical.
Was way back in the day.
Way back in the day. It's Flashback Friday, man. I'm bringing it back, man. Matter of fact, I'm gonna turn my hat backwards. Actually, I can't, because it's hitting the back of this leather chair. I'm gonna turn it back to the front. But I remember, dude, like, just battling with them.
Yep.
Straight battling, like. Every single play was a battle, bro. Like, balls in the air, from 1-on-1s to 7-on-7s to even team period. Because when you are a redshirt, you're on the scout team, offense or defense. So you're going up against the starters. And I would, be in battles with them all week, play against Wyoming or Colorado State or New Mexico, and be like, bro, y'all could easily start over there. Like, those receivers are boo-boo, John.
Yeah.
Like, you guys prepared me so much.
Yep.
Man, I appreciate you guys, like, working your butts off, giving me this work so I can go out and have an easy game because of what I had to deal with all practice. So like what Joe's saying, like what Devon's saying, you know, when you battle against each other,
that's how the bonds are built.
That's how they're exactly. That's
how
exactly.
I never really. Yeah, that's true. Cause I never really was friends with receivers on my team. I was always my best friends and roommates were always DBs, always DBs, and it's just because we just battle each other all day.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, he'll tell me like, oh, you know, you kind of tight, and I'll be like, you know, you kind of tight. You know what I mean? As far as receivers, you be like, you know, nah, you tight, but I'm better.
Yeah,
right. No.
Yeah.
You feel me?
He should have thrown it to me.
Yeah. It still gotta be competitive, but you know, with your boy DB, if your boy's a DB, you can always keep it real. He'll always keep it real with you and feed off of that.
I'll be honest though, when you have a quarterback that does spread the ball around, I've seen receiver corps be able to vibe with each other
exactly
and celebrate each other's successes.
Not
right
hate on
now,
each
I'm
other.
seeing, you know, Nick getting pissed if he don't get it, you know, and Kobe getting pissed if he don't get it, and it's because it's not really getting to anyone, so everyone's selfish with their time. And so what you're saying, Devon, from the get-go, would it be more efficient with Tanner in? Yes. Does Tanner have a better passing ability than Taysom? Yes. Now let's discuss why we're seeing what we're seeing. One, we touched on it last quarter, that Taysom is someone that, you know, we all bought into the journey, and not only that, we owe him this season.
Oh yeah,
we owe him to see it to the very end, and not only that, he battled some of the toughest games, man. He gave us a battle for the first half of this season, unlike anything we've seen. He kept us in, you know, and he did battle. I'll give him that. Do I think we would have maybe finished on the winning side of some of those if Tanner's in? Maybe. I really do. That being said, why, as a coaching staff, would you stick with Taysom? Well, let's just play this out real quick. In a transition year as a coach, let's say I'm Ty Detmer, okay? And let's say I just am so focused on winning that I'm gonna bring my ace out, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then who do you blame when we lose then?
Yeah.
You blame me, right? Right?
Right.
So it's smart as a coaching staff as well, and not only do we owe Taysom the spot, but in a transition year, absolutely. You know, let's kind of let the ripples settle and ride Taysom out into the sunset, and then next year we're bringing all our aces out, and we got to really show up.
See, I don't really like that though, man.
Yeah,
because
same.
Yeah, like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yep.
Okay, so the reason why I don't like that is because
you don't like losing. Like losing.
I'm a competitor, bro.
Right.
And so like if you're a coach and that's your philosophy, Scott, that's cool. But it's like
sucks.
It's at the same time like you want to win. I want to win every game. I don't care if we're 0-11 and it's the last game. I want to win. So I want to do anything and everything possible to put my players or my team in a situation to win and be successful, even if that means making personnel change, if that changes, if that means making coaching changes, right? You know, hey, you got to step down.
Yep.
You know, Coach Hal, you can't be a D coordinator no more. Yeah, I'm gonna come step in. You know, like Bronco, right? He could have easily said, "I'm gonna let this thing ride out," but it's like, no, man, nobody likes losing. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to lose. And thank you, Taysom, for everything that you've done. But if you feel like, from a strategic standpoint, that you have that Tanner gives you a better opportunity, you know, go ahead and take that.
Absolutely. Now, Scott, you went to Lone Peak High School. I know that's how your coach did it back then. He started the seniors, no matter what,
unless I was
they paid their dues.
Unless I was there.
But I remember hearing the rumors, like it was quote unquote, these guys paid their dues, they got to start.
Yep.
Now, while that's nice, and I also think that it'd be nice to see Taysom Ralph into the sunset. Now this is not talking about Taysom or Tanner or any players.
No, we're talking about the concept.
I think the concept of football, we've all heard it before. What have you done for me lately? I hate that phrase, but it's true.
Yep.
Whoever's hot needs to be the one on the field.
Yeah.
And I doubt that the coaches aren't doing everything in their power to win these games. I mean,
but let's be honest, that decision would have been made after the second loss, because if you're trying to have a winning season after 2 losses, hey, you lost 2 games for us in 3. We gave 3 games to you and you lost 2 of them. At that point, you start to shuffle things up a little bit. I think, you know, whether we like it or not, it is what you call a rebuilding season.
So I think to step in here a little bit and because me personally, I don't think we don't got to make this known or whatever. I'm gonna make it known to the fans right now. I don't think putting Tanner in is going to make the team more successful. And the reason why I say that is because everybody looking at me. The reason why I say that is because of this. Is because you look at the offensive line, right? I mean, this is it's one-on-one. It's a one-on-one game. We all know that, especially with the positions that we play. But it comes down to 11-on-11, and it's just straight up, flat-out execution. And when you look at the penalties from the offensive line, from holding to false starts, all that good, from allowing pressure, right? And then you look at some of the drops from the receivers as well. Now, don't get me wrong. The swing route to Squally, there's no need for Taysom to throw a 99, mile-an-hour fastball. There's no need for that, right? And Taysom knows that. So what I'm saying is, there's times where Taysom makes some bad throws and makes some bad decisions, taking the sack where, now we have to call a timeout. Now that changes the whole outcome of the game in regards to how we're managing the clock, right? So there's times where Taysom does make bad decisions. He is human. He's not all Thor, not all Superman, right? But at the end of the day, you look at the resources that he has around himself, and I don't think that those resources put or help Taysom to win these games. Right. Now, to tie it all together, the fact that he's still this team is still in it to win it. Right. They're still in it. You look at all the things that I said, and to me, that's why I would say, hey, they with all that stuff. Okay, I'm gonna call Mike. Go ahead, Mike. You have your hand up.
Okay, so real quick, just to put a little cap on why Taysom didn't get bumped after game 2. Here's what I'm told from the team. Dude, Tanner doesn't know the offense. It's a new offense.
There you go.
Taysom is like, he was gonna go to Stanford. This kid is smart.
Yeah.
Tanner's a smart kid too. I'm just saying, Taysom's genius.
Yeah.
He picked up the offense a
lot
faster.
He has way more experience too.
More experience. He picked up the offense faster. From what I'm told from all the players and my buddies, Taysom's doing better in practice every day. So, I mean, if I'm a coach, I'm watching that. Yeah, I hear what the fans are saying. Everyone's saying put Tanner and give him a shot. But from what I'm seeing, all my information tells me keep playing Taysom. And so for that reason, that's why he's still on the field.
I'm going to agree with Mike on this one and Brian. You can never blame a quarterback. If you lose by 1 point, that's everybody. You could switch anybody out. You could say, let's put him in for him. Don't put that on the quarterback because that's one play that somebody could have made, no matter who it is, and y'all would have won the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's 3 games where that happened. So I don't care, about, the quarterback. You can't put a 1 point loss strictly on a quarterback and say that that's the solution.
You can when it's a +5 turnover margin. You can. Ooh. You absolutely can. Because we're not capitalizing there. Plain and simple. +5? Are you kidding? It was a 1 point game. We suck.
Yeah.
Hold on, but some of these passes from Taysom were getting he was hitting his receivers in the chest, and these guys were dropping the ball.
They're dropping balls,
bro. I mean, Taysom isn't perfect, but his
what Go ahead, Joe.
You can't build momentum with drop balls, tip balls, all that. That's hurting your quarterback. His confidence, he can't continue to build off of that.
See, and that's what David Nixon said as well. He was, and that's his brother-in-law. You know what I mean? So he's just flat out saying, bro, there's no momentum coming up whatsoever. There was no type of any type of chemistry. Nobody was in sync. I mean, with Nixon was like, from that on the field, how could Ty Detmer even get in a rhythm of just calling plays?
But let's be honest, it normally comes from Jamal. This year, it normally comes from Jamal.
Yeah, I would say that.
Taysom doesn't bring it. He doesn't bring that fire, and Jamal does, and that's been carrying everybody. I mean, against Mississippi State, we were down, and I look over at Jamal. He pissed. He said, "No one has heart." I say, "Go over to the offensive line. You're the one that gives them heart." And so he goes up to them, and then all of a sudden the offense is rolling again because he knows how to do that.
Yeah.
It's the leader, like we said in the beginning. It's the leader.
So it all comes back down to leadership.
So I'll be honest. I talk with Doman's actually a great friend of mine, and he didn't have the best receivers, but he had dudes just laying out for the ball because they bought into Doman, and Doman didn't even throw the best ball.
Yep.
But everyone bought in. You had guys jumping over people and doing whatever to get it done. And right now I'm seeing a real flat offense and no energy.
Well, just because that's your boy. I mean, like, if you're going to throw me a pass, like, I know it was Tanner, it's just like, you going to throw me a pass, man, I got you, dog.
Yeah.
Like, just keep chucking them. I got you, my
throw
boy.
It my way.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I just feel like Jamal's not out there, and he's a huge catalyst.
Mm-hmm.
That is the team right now. You know what I mean?
So, have you guys ever been on like a group date or something, and there's one guy that dominates the conversation, and he's always like cracking the funny jokes or whatever? Right. So sometimes like you find yourself in that situation, and you're always looking to that guy. Like whenever there's like a opportunity for a joke to come, you kind of look to him like, oh, is he gonna say something funny?
Oh yeah.
So here's a question. Perhaps that has become the atmosphere on the offense. Does everyone kind of look for Taysom to kind of take over, and Taysom's gonna win the game? He's gonna take care of us. You know, it's rather than putting everything on their own shoulders. Because what I saw last year with y'all and Tanner and Devon balling out, I felt like these receivers, everyone shared the load. And when receivers realize, okay, Tanner isn't Taysom. He can't just single-handedly carry the ball for 300 yards and win the game for us. So we all got to pitch in. We all got to ball out. And I felt like that's where we saw what you're talking about with Doman.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we saw receivers laying out and jumping over guys and trying to make anything happen because they weren't looking for that one guy in the room to make everything happen.
So who on the receiving core can do that? Because it was Devon, it was Mitch Matthews.
That's a perfect tease because we gotta let Devon go. You gotta go take a test. You know, he's a student first.
Final words.
Right, but go ahead, Devon.
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback off what my boy Mike said, I feel like last year it was like I had a big ego. Mitch had a big ego. You know what I mean? Let's just be real about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's part of our position. So, okay, if you're not doing what you do, throw me that rock, bro, because I'm going to make it happen. You know what I mean? It's just that Kobe-ness that you got to have in you, that LeBron James, when sometimes he has it. You know what I mean? You just got to have that takeover. And I feel like each receiver possessed that takeover. I know me, Mitch, and the Jergens, when they possessed it when they seen me and Mitch possess it. And when Tanner sees that, he's like, oh, I'm going to throw it to them. Like, you know what I mean? I know. They got me. I got them. You know what I mean? The team rallied behind that. And I just think nobody's holding each other accountable. They're all afraid of just stepping out and be like, I'm going to be the leader. It's okay. It's okay, Trinnaman. You know what I mean? You don't have to. You don't. If you need to step on Taysom toes to get that touchdown or to be the leader, you got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? He's gonna respect you at the end of the day. You know what I mean? You got to like, hold on, bro. You are the leader, but let me handle this right now. You know what I mean? Throw me the rock. Let me get it. You feel me? Like it has to be that. And other than that.
That's accurate, man. And thanks, Devon. We appreciate the time, man. And we'll wrap up with that for the third quarter. We'll head into the fourth quarter, but that's just a perfect example of what Devon is saying. When I had that talk with Coach Mendenhall, you know, and Coach Hill, and they were like, look, we need you to be that. You know what I'm saying? And I think at this time, that's probably where the coaches got to have that conversation with Taysom. Because for me, it sounds like that is the problem. And it doesn't sound like the problem is his athletic ability or whatever. We know every athlete's going to have ups and downs and not going to perform 100% the best. But if it comes from the leadership, man, let's talk about how we get that done. So that'll be coming up next in the fourth quarter of the Royal Blue Podcast. Stay tuned.
So follow me up, 'cause this shit about to go. I'm doing 500, I'm out of control.
Welcome back to the Royal Blue Podcast. This is the fourth quarter of play coming to an end. So many good conversations and topics, man. And I'm just excited. I'm excited that Devon was here. I'm excited that he, went and took his test still.
Still on it.
We're all having fun, man. He could have easily on a Friday. He could have easily, not did that. But we gotta get them grades right and whatnot.
Get that degree.
Man, I'm so happy I got mine because. And, my wife was a big part of that by helping me out with some homework. But, shout out to Devon for helping us out. Why are you laughing, Joe?
Just knocking over
Why
markers.
Are you laughing, man? Dang. So I think to kind of wrap up the show, man, and really to bring it all full circle, from what I gathered is that it sounds like, it sounds like, especially from Devon, right? Recently removed on that side of the ball, got passes from both those guys. And it sounds like the leadership, you know. But it is what's cool though is that Devon's not saying that one guy is more of a leader than the other guy. He's he's saying they both, you know, have athletic ability in their own ways. He's saying that they both are leaders, right? And they lead in different ways. And so now I feel like with Taysom, as he's getting more confidence and more swag, I feel that's the biggest thing that he's missing is just that. Because we all saw as soon as he jumped over Buddy at West Virginia, he took a whole nother step, whole nother level of just his swagger. And so, you know, now it's like, okay, how do you get that to transfer over into, you know, the locker room, you know what I mean, and to get the guys behind your back.
We touched on this in the third quarter, but I think a big part of what Taysom is going to have to do moving on into the season is allowing other guys to share that light, that limelight that Taysom is so used to dominating, and which everyone was okay with him dominating because it won games.
Yeah, there's no reason to stop that.
Yeah, I mean, it was like Michael Jordan with the Bulls. They were all fine with him completely carrying the team because he got the job done. Whereas LeBron James has been working more on distributing the ball around and having it become a team win.
And he still dominates.
Right. Taysom, just like LeBron, who's later in his years, you know, he's not the same guy he used to be. He needs to work more on lifting up those around him, especially those receivers, getting on the linemen. But he needs to share that light with the other guys.
It's tough because I remember, you know, when he was coming in, I mean, him and Ty have been friends since before Ty was on the staff. I remember, you know, that's the circle Taysom's been around, is the Steve Youngs and the Ty Detmers and the, you know, all the big time Hall of Fame, whoever. They all wanted to be part of, you know, Taysom's career, and rightfully so. This transition now, you're right, and it's probably just not really second nature or natural for him to do that because he's used to carrying the whole team. And right now what needs to happen is the purest sense of football. All 11 guys need to contribute, and it's not just on Taysom to make sure guys do that. I want to see who's hungry. I want to see guys, you know, that don't accept defeat, that if they were open, that they're going to go vocalize it, not to anyone else but Taysom. Like, go hash this out with one another, but be hungry. I mean, don't just be complacent because you're not getting the ball. Go find a way to go get it. Go find a way to make a play. And if you don't feel that instinct, then by all means, don't say anything, and don't. But if there's something boiling within you as a player right now, and you're on this team, you gotta release it. You gotta bring it to the light, and that's what's gonna happen, and that will help Taysom out as well. You know, he wants to see who's hungry. Okay, I'll feed you if you're hungry.
Yeah, no, and that's the biggest thing, man, is releasing it and letting it go, because I took the biggest step in my career at BYU was when Bronco, you know, and Coach Hill, you know, sat me down, and they tried to do it before, where Bronco, I think it was like New Mexico game, like, and he was like, yeah, I know we lost to Florida State, we lost to, you know, TCU, and we still got opportunity to be ranked, which we did. We finished 12th in the nation, and you know, we played on paper, it was a good Oregon State team. They didn't show up to the bowl game.
Them, bro.
We got into that bootay. But, you know, I remember him showing me a couple weeks before playing, you know, against New Mexico, why is this kid jumping up and down? Why is he excited? Look at his passion. And, you know, for them to finally say, look, you're a leader, dude. Whether you like it or not, or whether you're named or not, like, you are a leader. And
I've told you before that I remember the team meeting, actually, where they highlighted your energy.
Yeah.
You know, and they rewound it and said, look at this. This is what we want you all to have. And that's exactly what we're talking about. But who do you point at on the offense without Jamal in?
See, bro, that's the thing. Like, to me, like, you naturally got to point at the quarterback.
Yep.
Like, you got to naturally point at the quarterback, and then on the defensive side, I feel like it's always a mixture of things on the defensive side. I go back to Joe's statement, which is, I'm gonna look for the ballers.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because your ballers could be a D lineman.
Yep.
Right, getting sacks. Like when it's fourth down. Right. When it's fourth down or whatever the case is.
That
like when somebody wants to make
now,
a play. Like Ziggy, I need you to go make a tackle or a sack. You know what I mean? Go give me the ball back.
Yep.
Or Kyle, I need you to make me an interception or whatever. Or or actual corner. You know what I mean? Go grab me the ball and get it back. So defensively, it's kind of up in the air. I'm just looking for the ballers, but on the offensive side, bro, it's like you touch the ball every single play.
Yeah, we may need you to step up.
You're right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
100.
But just a small touch on the defense. I feel like there's a lot of guys pulling their weight. A lot of guys have high energy. The defensive energy is, I love it, man. I love watching them. You know, they're going after the ball. They're going for the big hit. They're going for the pick. They're going for the sack. Like, I'm seeing that, and that, I mean, that makes me so happy. That's the part of the game that I enjoy watching. And then once we get to offense, I get a little bit, pissed.
You get a little bit deflated.
This is real locker room talk. So I've been on a few practices, right? I've just sit there and just watch the team. Now I heard one of the leaders. These are receivers. I heard him saying, I've only got this many catches. I'm not that good. Blah blah. He's kind of like down on himself. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. See.
So that and I could tell that the rest of these guys look up to this dude. So I'm thinking like, wow. So if they're looking up to him, that's gonna make all of them kind of play down.
Yeah.
They're not gonna get. They're not feeding off of that. And that's negative energy going.
Someone has to set the ceiling,
else.
And if the ceiling's set low, then everyone else gets crushed. Right. When you have an endless ceiling.
And people can see it in your plays too. So like Cody, his senior year, me watching the games, as on the side, I'm like, this is what's gonna happen. Cody's gonna catch the ball, or it's gonna be a pass interference. That was how I felt.
Yeah. They're either gonna tackle him before he catches it.
No matter what happened, because I see how aggressive he is. And that's his mindset. And when he's going for the ball, like, it's either a pass interference, he's gonna catch it. And then 9 times out of 10, that's what happened. Well, you know what I mean?
And that's crazy because, I mean, we didn't even talk about this, and Devon was basically saying that, in lesser words, that's the issue, and that's the situation with these guys, is the confidence and the lack of it, right? And I mean, he was like being aggressive and things like that, but that's really what it comes down to. So if you got guys that are down on themselves and whatever the case is, I mean, it's time to get right, bro. Like, you know what I mean? And that's why, like Scott said, going back to the defensive side. And you even said it last night. You tweeted at me with Dion Lake. Yeah. And I told this to people because everybody was like, man, the DBs suck and and blah 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 and boo boo boo. And how do you feel about Dion? And I was like, man, I like Dion. And I got like, oh my gosh, my social media. I looked at my stats and my analytics, and I got the most engagement from that one tweet, giving him props. And I said this. He reminds me of myself because I would literally get, an interception, and the very next series I give up a touchdown. And then this is like first quarter, and then I would go and get like a tackle for loss, and then I'd be a little bit quiet for a whole quarter. Then I would get like a touchdown caught on me, and then I'd get like a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 8 pass breakup that was crucial.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Game changing.
Yeah, and so. Whenever I have my woes, I also have my hero moments. Like, and so whenever I would get in the locker room, we'd be showering and guys would be laughing and they'd be like, "Bro, you are a baller," and I'm like, "Man, dude, I gave up like 2 touchdowns. I had like 3 PI calls on me." And they like had this smirk. Like I remember
You've never
Dennis,
had 2 touchdowns scored on you and 3 PIs in the game, dog. But all right, keep
Florida
going.
State. But we don't talk. We don't talk about Florida State.
Yeah,
no
you
more,
have to do that with Florida State, though.
That's the outlier.
Anyway, my bad. Keep going.
So I didn't want to bring it up, Scott. A little bit sensitive, the subject there. But yeah. But anywho, but you look at those guys. I looked at Dennis, right? I looked at Jan, and the huge smile on their face, like. Dude, we got a baller. Go back to what Joe's saying, right? I can trust this dude. We got a baller, and that's how Dion is. You know what I mean? He's young though, so it's like when I remember when I would hear fans literally boo me, and the coaches would be like, "Man, I'm not putting nobody else in because when I put the other guy in, they aren't making plays.
Right?
They're giving up plays, but not making them.
They're being passive.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Dion. He may be giving up plays, but he's making them as well.
He's all in.
He's
trying to make something happen every play.
Every single play. And that's the type of mentality that I feel like, we always say you got to have the corners got to have short memory. But, bro, everybody almost got to basically have a short memory. You know what I mean?
And that's the attitude, playing to win, not playing to lose, right? And that kind of goes along with what Joe was talking about, that positive mentality, just like, man, I'm a baller, not bringing yourselves down, which athletes, we all know we're our worst critics. Like when we're alone by ourselves and we're watching our own film, like
it was never a good game.
No one will beat you up more than yourself.
Right.
You know, as a good athlete, especially. I mean, that's how you get better, because that's what we've been doing our whole lives. Now I wonder, Taysom, back to Taysom and Tanner. I wonder if Taysom, he hears the words, he knows that there's this guy right behind him, Tanner Mangum, who's stud, freshman All-American, you know, has his passing precision is on point. Do you think Taysom's beating himself up a lot this year? Do you think that mentally, he's kind of in a little negative mentality that's holding him back? Because from what I see, I think there has to be something there. Not the injury, that player, that guy inside you that beats you up, and that if you don't keep track of it, it can get out of hand.
Eat you up.
It can eat
and defeat you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so he needs to find a way to just bust out of that.
Positive, I'll tell you what the solution is.
Flowing
it is
again.
Positive self-talk. You got to be talking to yourself positively in every scenario.
All of life.
Yeah, in every aspect. And so right now, Taysom's going to learn a life lesson, and it will, you know, project him for the rest of his life in the right direction. I think we will see a tremendous finish from him. First of all, the competition's way less than any of the games we've been playing.
Yep, of course.
But I think that he has this opportunity to do it. I think he's going to do it, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for him.
I think you know, Mike, you make the best point, because when he got sacked on that third down or whatever it was, or I don't know, maybe second down, but we had to burn a timeout, right? And it was however many seconds left. You know, the camera was all up in his grill, and you know it's HD, bro. We could see boogers in people's eyes, like it's that deep. And I just saw the look on his face, and that look, bro. I'm like, I never seen that on you, dude. And people always like laugh and make fun of me, because I, you know, with the media, and I spice it up a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, it's the best quarterback in the universe. But really, what I'm saying is, that's one of the best athletes I've ever seen. And Scott, you said it, we all say it. And so for the best athlete that we've ever seen or played with, or whatever the case is, has that look, man.
I just don't know if he understands how big the fight is to fight that adversity. It is such a tremendous fight and battle that he has to attack more aggressively than ever, because he's been used to positivity and success throughout his whole life, and never has he ever experienced this much adversity weighing down on him. I don't know if he understands the magnitude of the battle. I'm hoping that he's starting to, but it is something that you have to combat every second of every minute, and rewire your brain to have the positive self-talk. And until that comes back, you're never the all-star. You're never the X factor. You can't be, because there is defeat within you, and that cannot exist.
So
Craig Manning.
I mean, the Bible.
I was gonna say,
shout out Craig Manning.
Man, best class I ever took,
bro.
Dr. Manning. I think Taysom just needs to talk to him one-on-one.
Yeah.
Just one time.
Shout out Craig. I'm gonna call Craig right after this.
I promise you that he would be back. Because I know Taysom very well. I know his mentality, and I don't see it when I'm watching him play. I know how he plays. I know when he's at his full confidence, and he's not. And he's just not there right now.
I think he still has the physical tangibles to do it, and that's. I think it's there.
Because think about it, guys. Like, you know, when you look at even the Nebraska game last year, right, and you see how you know, he was progressing as a pocket quarterback.
Man,
you know
he looked good.
You know what I mean? Still getting it done with it when on the ground when he needed to. But we saw like this. We were all talking about as analysts. You know, on BYU TV, we were like, man, this dude like stepped it up, passing like, let's go, let's get it. And so. You know, injuries in certain situations, they do, you know, set you back. But you got to understand that a lot of the progression that we saw has to do with experience. It has to do with, you know, your mentality, your psyche. It has to do with your X's and O's. You know, that's when you start talking about the Tom Brady's and the Peyton Mannings in the world. You know what I mean? And yeah, so somewhat of, you know, the injuries can set you back as far as, I'm not on the field physically, but those mental reps are way more important. So to really tie into your guys' point and to wrap it up, he still has all the physical abilities. Like, they can't tell me this dude is weak or he just jumped over somebody out of 6'3" 3 weeks ago.
We've seen signs of brilliance.
Yeah.
We've seen signs of it. It's just not as consistent as it used to be, and I think it's all mental.
Yep. Just get your mental right, man.
So we'll be praying and fasting for you, Taysom.
Praying and fasting. I called for it this morning.
I'm calling Craig after this.
We believe, man.
We believe.
That positive vibes. We're sending positive vibes your way, brother.
Man. That's what we do that on BYU TV for BYU Sports Nation.
Yep.
We send the karma. So let's go ahead and send some of those good vibes. And you know what, dude? The Bible talks about this, bro, and it says it in different words, but you speak it into existence.
Mm-hmm.
That's really what it is. You know what I mean? Christ,
positive,
you got faith of a mustard seed, and you can move a mountain.
Let's go.
You can move a mountain, bro. You know what that means?
But you
Taysom?
need to experiment on that and let it grow within you into a tree. Right now, it is. I think a seed in the dirt that he hasn't even found the seed that he needs to water. So now I'm gonna get a little deep.
You don't experiment. You don't experiment with it, Scott. You water it.
He ain't even found the seed though.
Grow.
He ain't even found the seed though. It's still in the soil.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
So my favorite athlete all time, the best at positive self-talk, the greatest, right? Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
And so I think every athlete, we all kind of we all have posters of him, and we all try to emulate that because we all realize that there is something powerful with positive self-talk and believing.
You watch Jamal do his thing, bro. Just the energy he carries, it exudes excellence. And he plays above his ability because of his mentality.
And I'll say this last piece because, Alan, the DJ, just walked in, so he'll be able to cut this all up for you guys because this is fabulous stuff, dude. We were talking during
You missed a good show,
during
Alan.
our breaks. Alan, bro, you, this going to take us... Yeah, you're right. This is going to take us to a whole nother level, but... and I'll leave with this, especially with this time, this month, with breast cancer awareness. My grandmother, she went through breast cancer a couple of years ago.
Mine too.
And she literally said, waking up every morning with a positive attitude and literally saying, I'm going to beat this, or saying like, I don't have this. Like, this is all a mental game. And she was like, yeah, there's times, physically you go through chemo and some of the stuff, and it kind of sucks, and you kind of just have to fight through and battle. But she was like, losing the hair and all that's the easy part,
right?
And she was like, the hard part is the mentality. And she said, literally, bro, when she would wake up, and if she had like a pissy attitude, like, oh, woe is me. Oh, I got this. And start getting fearful. Like, oh, I got,
downward spiral.
15 grandkids, and I got daughters, and I got 5 great grandkids that I got to leave behind. And da-da-da-da. She said that's when she would start feeling sicker and sicker. And so when she started having those positive vibes, those positive thoughts, she beat it, and she was like, that right there, I never look back, and that's how you beat cancer. That's how, and she went a little bit deeper as well, because she was like, look, I wouldn't have been able to do it with Christ and with a foundation where that builds upon hope,
right?
And that's what we all believe in. You know what I mean? As far as that the gospel and what Christ brings to us is hope. And so for her,
faith, hope, charity, and love.
Yeah, man,
with a nice single to the glory of God.
That's what it is. You went a little bit extra with the LDS. That's fine.
Hey, but
we all on the same team.
I think at the end of the day, this podcast, it's just to discuss football. But at the end of the day, this is a message, for everyone that if you actually implement it, it can project you into better places. And we understand the struggle. It's not just football. Taysom's struggles are probably minuscule to some things that other people are dealing with.
Exactly.
And we understand that, and I think everyone goes through hard times, and these are things that we've found to be true and to help us persevere and overcome.
Exactly. Amen, brother. So that'll wrap up the fourth quarter, which is the end of this beautiful God divine show, bro. I mean, this is
but this is how it is every time we get together, bro.
I know. They don't understand.
Every time we
should
get
probably
together.
just have a sermon, bro. Like, I was talking to Uncle B and them yesterday, and they were talking about how one of his friends, who's a pastor at a Baptist church, came and spoke, and he was like, yeah, he was really mad because I never invited him to the church. And so, you know, I'm asking you, like, do you guys want to go? I'm like, oh, man, I've been to Scott Lefrant's church. You know,
it's not my church. Hey, it ain't my church.
Oh, Scott Lefrant's mom's church. You know,
Come on,
so many
man.
times, you know, I spoke at, you know, I've been,
Yeah.
I don't know what you call the second hour. I call it Bible Sunday school. But
Yeah,
Sunday
priesthood.
school,
Hey, that was
priesthood,
that priesthood meeting was strong, bro.
I
That
know.
one.
That one, I
Yeah.
know. Every time, bro, it happens.
Yeah.
You know, this is what happens. But, yeah, man, I appreciate you guys. We'll wrap up the show. We'll keep them coming. Please send us your thoughts, man. Don't be scared. Devon, you know, was like, we're going in, real locker room talking. I think we're just going to get deeper and deeper, man. And I think we did a good job, fellas, of not being Team Taysom or Team Tanner or anything like that. But we just, you know, had that real talk, you know, like Joe Sampson always does. So, appreciate you guys, and that's another Cougar.
Appreciate you.
First down.
False start. Rewind. That's another Cougar. First down. That sounded like a baby cougar. That's a baby down the line.
I don't know what that is.
Hey.
Yeah, we went in.
We went into a whole nother world.
We went in. They're gonna be on the podcast like contemplating life.
No, they literally are. No, literally.
Like we taught some life
taking
lessons,
notes.
bro. We taught some life lessons in that podcast.
We sure did.
And, you know, not to be self-righteous or anything, but as soon as I walked in, it turned all spiritual. So I don't know what that means.
That's right. Well, you know when you got blonde hair and, you know, fair skin and blue eyes, you know, you kind of just the light.
I look like giant Joseph Smith. What can I say?
It's a wrap. Oh, man.